You are all being recorded now. All right, well, welcome to this edition of Navigating the New Normal. Today we are talking about mindfulness and physical, just mindfulness and self-care. I want to just welcome all of our attendees. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us today. And I will now hand it over to Deon to kick us off and get our program started.
Absolutely. Thank you, Christina. And you cannot see her wonderful face nor her lovely duck, but thank you to Rebecca Dobrinsky as well. They always do remarkable work putting this together. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks to everybody who took a little bit of time to join us today during your lunch hour. And of course, thank you to the wonderful panelists that we have, Jennifer and Carol. As always, we really want to make sure that we're doing a good job of promoting things that we could be doing to help us navigate this new normal. At TechBirmingham, obviously, we want to make sure that we're providing value to our members, but at the end of the day, this is actually about the entire community. And so this is just part of our effort to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to help our community maneuver through these new times, and not only just survive, but how to thrive in it as well. And so this cannot be done without you guys. If you're not a member of TechBirmingham already, or if your organization is not, I highly encourage you to do so. That support allows us to put on programming and activities like these. And we want to make sure also that we're providing value. And so we rely on you all for that. We want to know what are the things that you're concerned with? What are you seeing personally in your organizations? And let us know those things. Reach out to us, call us, email, whatever the case. We want to hear from you, because at the end of the day, it is about you guys. And so we can't do that without you all. So that said, thank you again. Really appreciate it. And we'll go ahead and dive right into it. If you all would like to just maybe give us a quick overview, a bio about who you are, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, and what you're doing in your organization. And we'll just go alphabetical. We'll start with you, Carol.
Hi, well, it's nice to meet you, Deon. Hi.
Hey, likewise.
My name is Carol Kutik, and I'm the Director of Fitness and Health Promotion at Lakeshore Foundation. My world involves programming for all of our members and all of our virtual members now, in terms of providing the types of fitness and health promotion that is specifically developed for all individuals, but individuals with disabilities, in terms of different types of access and different types of accessible equipment.
Fantastic, thank you.
Work with Dustin a lot with the Research Collaborative.
Yeah, Dustin is fantastic. TechBirmingham board member, Auburn alum, so definitely War Eagle to that. And apologies for upsetting our Bama friends on the call today. And Jennifer, we'll kick it over to you.
Sure. Jennifer Nelson. I'm a front-end developer at Quantalytix, and I've been teaching group fitness classes for about 8 years now. I'm also a former educator. I taught middle school English for 8 years. So really connecting with the teachers out there right now during these times. So love to talk a little bit about that too with this. But yeah, that's basically it. I spend a lot of time in front of a computer screen, and so physical activity is so important to me, and it helps my brain so much. I'd love to share with you just my journey and balancing those two things.
Absolutely. I think that's a word that we're going to come back to a lot, balance. And so we'll start with you, Carol. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that you are doing at the Lakeshore Foundation? Obviously, you all have an international impact, and that is not a stretch to say, but I don't want to take it for granted that people are familiar with the work that you all are doing. So maybe if you can just share a little bit about that work and how it's changed due to COVID-19 and how you guys are responding to that.
All right. So you mentioned our international presence, and a lot of people know us very well for all of our involvement in U.S. Olympic and Paralympic sport and USA Wheelchair Rugby. A lot of people don't know, even in Birmingham, that we have a almost 130,000 square foot facility. We have over 3,000 memberships and over 10 or 11,000 visits per month. And that's the everyday programming part that has become exceptionally challenging right now, because people come to us for community and for the specialty types of programming, the staff that is experienced in programming. We have equipment that you may not find anywhere else. We have 2 pools, and I mentioned over 10,000 visits a month, and probably over half of those are people who use our pool. So we're really having difficulty connecting with them right now. We are putting together a lot of, I'm learning a lot about technology and teaching to an iPad and creating virtual classes. So we're developing a virtual base right now where people can attend live classes. We're linking videos. We're creating short videos. We're asking all of our program staff to create 3 to 5 minute videos, and it could range from recreation to athletics to how to work on your wheelchair, how to make a healthy recipe or balance, all the things that we provide across the scope, and posting that. So I really would love for people to visit our website and start taking advantage of all of that collection that we're putting together right now. And we're learning quickly how to do all of that, because we're a hands-on programmer. We 90% of what we do is with people in front of us, and that's what we thrive on, and that's what they love and they thrive on. So we're shifting our skills here a little bit, and learning along the way, and knowing that some of this might be with us down the road. It'll change the way we deliver our programs, I think.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the help that you all might be looking for, that you all might be needing from the community? Is it too early to tell? How are some of the ways that people can plug in and augment what you all are attempting to deliver to your existing community?
The biggest way that everyone can really help us to connect individuals that need us is to know who we are. And now that we have some time, like I said, so many people in Birmingham, I can't tell you how many times I have someone come in and said, I've lived here for my whole life and I didn't know you were around the corner, and oh my gosh, look at this place, I didn't know you had all that. So I would say learn about Lakeshore, get on our website, and so that when you either know someone or you meet someone who could truly benefit from the specialty types of programs that we can offer, you can go, I know where you can go to do that. Or, NCPAD is another great resource. It's NCHPAD. NCPAD is an international resource for individuals with all types of online content. NCPAD actually happens to be physically located on the campus with us at Lakeshore. So learning everything we do, learning when we say Lakeshore, it doesn't necessarily mean the hospital, because that's another common thing that we hear. I'll say I work at Lakeshore, and they say, oh yes, my uncle was there when he had a stroke, and he was inpatient there for a couple of weeks. So just know who we are, so that it's on top of your mind of when you meet someone, say, I know a great place for you. I know some great people that you can connect with.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. And I cannot say enough great things about the work that you all are doing over at the Lakeshore Foundation. I always leave encouraged whenever I have a chance to visit the facility, obviously with guys like Dustin Dew and Jeff Underwood. I mean, you all are just really remarkable assets, not just to Birmingham, but to the entire global community. So thanks for offering that up. Mm-hmm. Jennifer, we'll switch it over to you. What are some of the things that you're doing? I actually want to go back to what you mentioned about balance. How, from an organizational standpoint, how have you all been able to find that? Are you all still finding that? And then let's just dive in personally. Obviously, I think a lot of individuals on the call, whether it be parents who are now newfound teachers, and folks who are maybe caring for parents. There's so many complexities now that we have to appreciate that we didn't have to before. I imagine that balance and mindfulness is going to be top of mind for a lot of folks. So yeah, if you could just speak to that a little bit from an organizational standpoint, as well as a personal standpoint.
Sure. I've been fortunate. We have great leadership at Quantalytix through this. And we're a small team, so we've really worked together to talk about how to do this and shared with each other our struggles as well as things that have worked for us. And so one thing that I started a little bit before this started, and I'm glad that I did, was just time blocking and really being intentional about my boundaries between work and play and everything else. And just because we're working from home doesn't mean those boundaries should go away. And, you know, I know that it's so much harder when you're at home, and especially if you have children and everything is taking place in the same space. And so really setting up your schedule and being very intentional about sticking to it when you can. But the positive thing is we can be more flexible, or at least I know that a lot of people can with their hours. And so thinking about, you know, how can I schedule my day so that it works the best for my family, for me, and for my organization. And so agreeing upon times that we're all available and then times that can be flexible, that has really been helpful for us, and I know for me. And because it's important to think about the times that we work best and the ways in which we work best, and just establishing those clear boundaries. From a personal standpoint, it took a while. I've had good weeks and I've had bad weeks. And it's really important to just acknowledge that this is difficult and that we're not going to get it right all the time. But what's important is that we focus on our habits. You know, are we developing and trying to stick to good habits? And that's where we should define our success, is not in always getting it perfect or getting it right, but, you know, being proud of the habits that we're developing and trying to achieve, whether it's with exercise or keeping a schedule or eating right, really focusing on the habits piece of that.
Well, I'm going to incorporate whiskey as part of a good habit. That's just personally, but seriously though, so kind of sticking to that, how are you staying connected with your fitness clients? And are there some things that you are seeing with them that might be worth offering up and sharing with everybody today?
Sure. I'm not getting paid to say this, but I teach classes through an organization called Les Mills that's out of New Zealand. And fortunately, they already have such a thriving online community and on-demand classes. So I teach live versions of these classes, which is wonderful. And it's the reason that I started my fitness journey, was because of these classes and incredible instructors. But there's a thriving community, and I'll throw that link up in the chat if I can, just to that, because what I love about this organization is that there are classes, everything from mindfulness to mixed martial arts to core training to HIIT, strength, everything imaginable. And that has been really fun, because I've been able to talk to my usual participants about new classes that they're trying through that program. And we've all tried new things and just had really a lot of fun talking about just kind of how hilarious it is when you try something that you're not used to doing, and just stretching out of your comfort zone. One of the instructors through this program, big, like over 6 feet, very muscular guy, did the ballet class on there and put on a tutu and filmed it and everything. And so it's been really fun to be a part of that community. There's a Facebook group around it, and it's always active. And so that's a great place to get plugged in. I know there are so many resources. There are so many things that you can do, but sometimes it's just about picking one and trying it and seeing if you like it and going from there. And that's one that's really worked well for me over the past 10 years of my life.
That's good. Thank you. I'm obviously going to have to start incorporating some of that. My habits haven't always been the best, I'll admit, but like you said, acknowledging that we're at least trying. I think that's a very good point to make. Carol, if I can kick it back over to you. So you all, like you said, have a high touch organization. How are you finding that balance between serving those who might need the highest touch, and are there parallels to individuals who are trying to maintain those relationships, those high touch relationships with friends, with parents, with co-workers, wherever the case may be, especially when you consider like parents, and but we still have to maintain social distancing.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any parallels that you can offer up that might be helpful for those of us on the call?
Just staying connected, and our high touch, the staff is doing their best to stay connected, even if that's just a phone call or a FaceTime. If they work with someone on a regular basis, just a short meeting about what they're doing, suggesting that they maybe do try some different things or suggest some exercises that they can do at home. For parents, I know it's difficult. We talked about this yesterday, and this might be a great time to teach parents how to use technology. We may have a lot of older adults. We sometimes assume that they don't know how to use technology, but a lot of them have smartphones and they have computers, and maybe they're not totally comfortable finding things online right now, but maybe you can, over the phone, teach them and say, hey, I'm going to walk you through. Try this. I want you to try this video. I want you to try this program. And they might love it.
Yeah, I think kids, well, children, we're always IT support for our parents. It's a good time to get back into that.
They might really embrace it this time and say, okay, you know what, this isn't so bad. I like this.
I'm happy to report that my mom's fairly young, but yeah, I kind of flipped my wig when she started sending me emojis. I was like, okay, she gets it now. What are you doing, Carol, personally, to maintain balance and mindfulness? I imagine that all of this has been a potentially high stress environment. Don't want to suggest that you're succumbing to it, but just from this end personally, it has been stressful at moments. Are there things that you're doing just on a personal level that you found to be beneficial as we make this transition?
Well, yeah, I'm very fortunate to live in an area where I can continue my outdoor activities. I'm getting out and getting in a 5-mile walk every day, and I have got a little bit of home equipment. I have never been someone who really loved to work out at home because I didn't want to bring it home. So I'm fortunate. I have some things to keep me in my fitness routine, and I have access to the foods that I need. So I think the biggest stress is really trying to support a staff that is trying to go about and learn how to work in a different way, and feeling responsible for making sure everyone has what they need. And not everyone is great with computers or great with equipment, and trying to figure out how to keep them supported so that they can support the members and the people that they care about, and feel really good about that.
I think we might be losing Carol a little bit. Carol, I don't know if you can hear me, but you might be going in and out.
I hear you.
See, Christina, are you noticing that on your end as well?
I'm not either. I think it might be you, Deon. You're frozen for me.
Oh, yeah, there he is. He's frozen. It's you, Deon.
All right.
I think we've lost Deon.
There's Deon.
He's gone.
Let me unmute. There you go.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, shout out to Spectrum Internet on that one.
You can upgrade, Deon, for $20 extra a month. You can get upgraded.
I have like the I know, right? I have like the highest speed there is. Apparently Spectrum does not like me, but okay. All right. I'm sure I missed something good. I'm not going to ask you to repeat it all, but is there anything, did you want to kind of like maybe wrap it up quickly in the last 5 seconds?
Yeah, and you know, you added what is the stressful part, and it's really thinking about all of our members out there that we love, and we're so used to being around, and knowing that they just might not have the things that they need, and how can we reach out to them? How can we even know who they all are, and worried that if people don't find a way to keep moving, that those with chronic health conditions and you know, some disability, their ability to move may decrease, and it's going to be difficult to get it back.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I actually kind of want to go back to you, Carol. That was, you were basically saying the part of the community that you're a part of, that you all have the online resources and the ability to connect already. Are there any particular tools or websites that you're frequenting that might be good resources to share? I used to be a big user of Headspace when they first rolled out, not so much anymore, but definitely love the app. Are there any tools and apps like that that might be worthwhile?
You know, for a lot of our members, which maybe tend to be older adults, I think Silver Sneakers has really created some terrific on-demand Facebook live events, short classes, longer classes, all kinds of videos. And I'm finding myself watching a lot of Silver Sneakers to see how they're putting things together, giving me ideas on how to put together safe, easy, and effective. Because I'm always looking for safe, and you know, and very functional. And I would really recommend Silver Sneakers.
Thank you, Jennifer. What about you? Any communities, groups, apps, and tools that you might offer up?
Yoga with Adrienne is fantastic. If you haven't discovered,
I love her.
Yeah, really wonderful. And she has yoga for every emotion you could experience, every situation, and she's just lovely to listen to. And so I definitely recommend her. And then there's so many. And Carol, I'm so glad you mentioned SAFE, because that's huge. And Christina, we were talking about this yesterday too. There's a big difference between trying to exercise in your home or your garage or your tiny apartment versus a gym, because the floors are not the same. And we have to be very careful with our joints. And so trying to jump and do the things that maybe we're used to doing on safe floors is not what we need to be doing at home. And so looking for, you know, I've just randomly come across people on Instagram or YouTube that are doing couch workouts that are really fun and inventive, where you don't need any equipment. There are so many people that are putting out resources right now, so it doesn't take long to find something. The Daily Kelsey on Instagram, I've come across her recently, and she's done a lot of couch workouts that I've tried, and just like short, quick things that you can do. One thing that I've really changed my mindset on is how I exercise during this time. We tend to put so much pressure on ourselves to maintain everything that we had before before this happened, maintain everything that we were used to doing, whether it's with our children or our lifestyles. And it's important to acknowledge that these are different times and that we need to change our expectations a little bit about what is good for us. And so, you know, that goes with exercise too. I don't need to be feeling like I've got to keep to the same schedule and do intense workouts all the time. My body right now wants more dance and yoga and then just quick breaks throughout the day where I'm doing some squats or some push-ups and just little things to move, take a walk, and anything counts. Everything counts. Carol mentioned this when we were talking yesterday, that we, you know, just getting up and moving around is worth it. And so not being so hard on ourselves, and just realizing this is difficult and it's going to take a while to adjust and adapt and figure out what works best for us. And what works for you may not be what works for other people. So you have to really find and know yourself and what you need.
That's good. Carol I'm sorry, Christina, were you about to say something?
Well, yeah, yesterday I had shared with the ladies that I was trying to follow along my normal high intensity interval workouts, but I don't have, you know, a floating floor that bounces. And so the impact has been very hard. And so they gave me some great advice, you know, to listen to my body and to find and they encouraged me just to keep moving, you know, find movement that works. And so we're going to keep, I'm going to look into maybe doing yoga. She recommended some yoga. You know, maybe I'll switch it up and do some bar workouts and Pilates or something. You know, now there's so many resources that are available that, you know, it's the time to experiment, I guess, you know, with some of the free resources that they have online.
And that's good for our bodies and our brains to try new things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know for me, when I stretch myself in those ways and laugh at myself and try different things, then I feel better overall. So it's a good time to do that.
Absolutely. And Patrick McClendon chimed in that his dog is an excellent mindfulness and workout partner. So I think this is probably a good time for me to get a puppy. So, yeah. I actually had a question before the puppy reference. It completely threw me off. But Carol, you had mentioned nutrition. How are you still maintaining that? Are you ordering food now? Are you just going and getting things in bulk? How are you still maintaining your healthy habits around nutrition? And what are some tips you can offer up to us about that?
I've been trying to do some large shopping so that I have enough in the food in the house for a while, so I don't have to go out there. And you know, frozen fruits and vegetables are fabulous. I did notice when I went to Publix the other day that they were kind of low on that stuff, but if finding fresh, it's hard to keep fresh for a long period of time, but you can buy a big bag of frozen fruit, put it in the blender, put a little yogurt in it or some protein powder, and yum, it's delicious. Or frozen vegetables, saute them or roast them. And now might be a good time also for people to spend some time learning more about nutrition. I love myplate.gov. It is a site and a source with numerous videos and tip sheets and meal plans you can make for yourself. It's simple. It does a really good job of explaining what are carbs, what are fats, what is sugar, and now might be a good time for someone to say, hey, I've got some extra time on my hand. I'm really going to learn this stuff. I'm really going to learn how to read a food label. So that when you do go into the grocery store or you look into your pantry, you look at that and go, oh, maybe not. Or, you know, what is a serving of ice cream? Is it a half a cup or is it a pint? So, so those kinds of things would be really helpful to hone in on a little bit more and really plan and learn as much as possible. nutrition is not difficult, but it is surprising that some people just really are not as comfortable with going into a grocery store and looking at the label and understanding it, or going to a restaurant and ordering in. And I know a lot of people are ordering out right now, and that's a wonderful thing. We want to support all of our small businesses, but maybe share that meal with somebody when you bring it home. Maybe, if it's, at least know what you're ordering from them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, that's good. And to that, I was just told by somebody, I don't know if she is on the call or not, but that Pepper Place Farmers Market will be doing drive-through pickups.
Mm-hmm.
So for all of the Pepper Place fans out there, you can still get your fix and support the community. And that is so awesome. Christina's son, there. I love it. I love it. He's the one who found all of that toilet paper. So, Jennifer, I want to go back to you for a little bit. I actually see we have some questions coming in. We're going to make sure that we get to those. So if you have additional questions, please go ahead and populate that. We'll make sure we have time for a Q&A session before we wrap up. But Jennifer, just we talked about nutrition. We've talked about just kind of acknowledging where we are and being open to adapting and going with the flow, so to speak. One of the things that really stood out to me was time blocking. Take us, what is the process that you actually went through to say, okay, this is how much time I need to dedicate to this. This is where my boundary will lie. Just how do we, if we're starting this for the first time, or maybe we've done it before, but obviously we're in a new reality now, and so we have to revisit and readjust. How do we approach something like that?
Yeah. This is a learning process for me, so I'm just a few weeks into this, but what I do is just sit down on Sunday nights and I try to think about everything for my week. And honestly, I do this kind of on an ongoing basis, almost like have a backlog of things that I just write down as I think about them, like a brain dump of things that I need to do. And then when I set my schedule for the week on Sunday nights or early Monday mornings, I put all of those things in a place, whether it's personal or work related, everything. And what's been amazing to me is just having such a better sense of what I spend my time on, how long things actually take, because before I had this unrealistic expectation of myself of I'll get all this done this week, or I'll get all this done today. And when I block it out on the calendar and estimate the time that it's going to take, it's so much easier to estimate when I'll have that done or when I can do that. And I don't get it right all the time. And I adjust it as I go throughout the week. If something ends up taking longer or less time, I adjust that. And so I'm getting better at it every week because I'm getting a better idea of how long things take me. But it also takes that thinking and that stress out of your day because okay, I'm going to do this. And then my little reminder pops up that I'm about to switch to something else. And so I put it away and I switch gears and I try to really stick to it. And that's the hard part. But it's been very beneficial to me, just feeling like I don't have all this stuff in my head that I want to get done. I actually have a place for it. And so my day is I just flow. I just let my schedule kind of tell me what to do next. And then when my schedule's done for work, I switch to other things. And it's been really helpful for me. I do it in Outlook so that I get those reminders, and I color code it by activities. So you can kind of look at your week and see, how much of your time is being spent in different activities.
No, that's good. I appreciate the practical approach to this. Touching on boundaries is something that you mentioned earlier, which I would imagine includes saying no to a lot of people and a lot of things. How do you do that? Because
I was terrible.
Very hard. It just
yeah, I've been really bad about it, and just really in the past year, getting a lot better at that. time blocking helps, because you literally look at your schedule and say, I do not have time for anything else. And that has been eye-opening to me, because what we don't want to do is commit to something and not really be able to invest our full selves in it. And that's a terrible feeling when you feel like you're stretched too thin and your bandwidth is used up. And so that time blocking has helped with that, helped me know I need to say no, because there's nothing else that can fit in my schedule. And blocking out time for nothing is really important. If we fill up our schedules with just constant doing, then there's no time to reflect and be bored. We need to be bored sometimes. There's a great podcast that I listen to called Zigzag, and the host Manoush did this great study several years ago that's called Bored and Brilliant, and it was all about what happens when we don't fill up all of our time with looking at our phones. Like if we're standing in line or waiting for something, what if we turned off the music, turned off the podcast, turned off the phone for a minute and just let ourselves and allowed ourselves to be bored? What would come out of that? And it's fascinating. And one thing that I've really been working on in the past year is taking time, whether it's just 5 minutes every day, hopefully more, to just sit with myself and do nothing, to just clear my mind and just see what comes out of that. I've been shocked at the emotions that come out of things that I'm holding on to that I wasn't realizing, things that I was stressed about that I had just pushed away. And so I really challenge everyone to try that, to allow yourself to sit for 5 minutes when you can, and just reflect and just see how you're doing. Check in with yourself, because it's so easy to fill up all of our time with something. There's plenty of distractions.
That's good. I really appreciate that. And thanks for the podcast offer as well. I'm looking to add to my collection. Carol, is there anything that you wanted to offer up around that as well? How you are being disciplined about all of the demands and the pulls on your time now, how you're going about organizing your day?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's a little bit shocking how I can organize my day a little bit more now, because my typical days have a draft of what's going to happen, but with hundreds of people coming in and out during the day, that changes. And I have gotten so used to they're not interruptions at all, but just changes in my flow. Like I might be working on something and a member needs something, or a staff member needs something. And I think I've gotten so accustomed to that now that I'm home, and my biggest interruption is my Shih Tzu. It's I'm getting things done a lot more quickly. I'm relearning how to get things done and actually block time and keep that time. It's very different for me.
It's fascinating. Yeah. You just confirmed that I do need a dog. So
yeah,
I'm going to take that as a...
And what Jennifer was saying, that's when that sitting in that quiet time is just a really special time.
Absolutely.
I worry about my children, and my grandchildren live in New York, and they're right in the middle of some really bad statistics right now, and and I think I block it sometimes, and then the other day it finally hit me that I don't know when I'll see them again. It could be months and months and months. So, but having that nice quiet time to let myself feel that way, and it's good.
Absolutely. I think that goes to what Jennifer was saying, just acknowledgement, recognizing what it is that we're feeling, what we're going through, and being real with ourselves about it. So thank you for offering that up. Just curious, I'm a big fan of practical when it comes to things like this. How do you start your day?
Me?
Yeah.
My husband makes coffee. And my husband's a high school teacher, so we're learning a lot in the household too about virtual teaching. My husband makes coffee. I relax, have that quiet time, try to go for a walk, and then get my schedule out and go from there.
That's good. Thank you. Jennifer, anything that you want to offer up to that? How do you start your day? Is it intentional, structured?
It's very intentional. I love food. I start my day with food. So I get up early. I'm an early person. And I usually kind of do a little cleaning, little chores, make my tea. I can't have coffee right now. That's a long story, but I love coffee as well. Tea-chino, by the way, tea-chino is the best stuff ever. If you haven't tried it, if you're a coffee drinker, but you can't have caffeine, or you're trying to cut back on your caffeine. But I start my coffee. Yeah. What did you say?
Have you tried the mushroom coffee?
I have not. I have not ventured into that. I've done.
Do I even want to know what? Well, okay. I'm sure it's delicious.
Yeah, but yeah, I start my day with podcasts and making breakfast. Kind of just, I try to make my breakfast and make something that's ready to go for lunch too, that I can grab quickly when that time comes. If it's a beautiful day, I'll wait and exercise until the sun's out. So I'll maybe exercise around 7:30 or so. If not, I'll just do a quick something in my apartment. And depending on what time I want to exercise, I'll start work pretty early so that I can take breaks throughout the day, and especially take an afternoon break and get outside, walk around a little bit. But that's usually my morning. I love podcasts in the morning. I listen to Up First from NPR. It's like a 13-minute daily roundup of what's going on in the news. And then if something sparks my interest, I may dig a little bit deeper into that and do some reading. And then and that quiet moment too, before I get started. And I forgot about that. I sit on my couch and drink my tea-chino and just sit for a little bit.
That's good. Thank you for offering that. Christina, keep me accountable. How are we doing on time? And do we need to take any of the questions that have been coming in?
We do have some questions. Some of them have been kind of touched on, but I think maybe we can dive in a little bit deeper with a few of them. So Jennifer, you mentioned the couch fitness programs. What are some other ways that people can add some more activity and movement in their daily lives if they're working from home? This attendee said that I'm missing a lot of movement around the office that I took for granted. How can you build movement and fitness into your daily work from home life?
Oh, there's a lot of ways, but it's just a matter of picking ones that you're willing to try. I did one yesterday that I thought was really good. I'll share this one. I don't remember what the cutesy name for it was, but you do a squat and then you hold it for 1 second, and then you do 2 squats and you hold it for 2 seconds, and you do 3, and you work your way up to 10. And it doesn't take very long at all. And my legs were burning. But it felt good, and it was a really quick way that I could do something. It was kind of fun to do that. And I did it along with the video. This was from the Daily Kelsey on Instagram.
The name of that is called Pure Hell, if you want.
Yeah.
just in case.
And you could do little versions of that. You could do some shallow squats. You could just do 5. Work your way up. See how many you can do. Maybe you do 3, and then the next day you do 4, and work your way up. And then I'm a big fan of the kitchen dance party. Just put on your favorite music and go to town. That is the best stress reliever, and you will sweat, and you will have fun, and you will laugh. So I highly recommend that. I do that at least once a day. That's just crucial. I've even tried, there's some just, I'll have to post this in the Slack, but there's a choreographer that I love to dance anyway, but there's a choreographer that I follow on YouTube, and he does dance tutorials, and I attempt to learn some of those and laugh at myself. Laughing at yourself is really important during this time as well. So, just anything that you enjoy. I got a jump rope. I did the jump rope team in elementary school. And so I'm bringing back my jump rope days with that. And just think about what you've enjoyed during your life, what you've enjoyed doing, and trying to just find little things that will make you smile and get you moving around.
Jennifer, what are the 2 things that you're listening to right now?
Oh, just 2? Honestly, what I've been listening to is on Apple Music. There are podcasts for this time, like COVID podcasts, and there's like a living room dance party mix that has just tons of stuff in there, and that's been really fun. There's one called Virtual Hugs that was really great as well. So I've been listening to those playlists. I listened to the ones that were shared out on the TechBirmingham newsletter too, Mayor Woodfin's and Ben's. So those have been awesome. I'm all into just seeing like playlists, mix of anything and everything.
Yeah, shout out to Rebecca for getting that out. Appreciate it. Good stuff. Carol, I'm interested. 2 things that you're listening to. What music are you listening to right now?
Well, we have a class at Lakeshore called Crank, which is like upper body spinning. So I have on my iPad hundreds of songs and playlists that I use for Crank, and I mix country and 80s and 90s and rock. And my favorite thing to do is to put it on shuffle play, and it makes me want to move. I hear the music, and when I hear music, I just want to move. And even if I'm cleaning, it helps me to make it all a little bit more pleasant. I also love the Garth channel. I'm a big fan of the Garth channel. If you have
Garth?
The Garth channel. It's not all Garth Brooks music.
Who knew?
Put something on his channel that he's got Pink on there, and he's got some country on there, and it's awesome.
I'm all for it. Good stuff. Thank you. Christina, I see something's going on in the chat. Good conversations, it seems like. Any other questions or anything that we want to pull out from the chat?
Let's see. What advice do you have to help alleviate anxiety about uncertainty about your future, keeping your job, making sure your spouse, partner, kids are getting what they need? What are some free online resources for yoga and other mindfulness activities? So Jennifer did post a few, and we will post those as well in the follow-up. But anything else that you could add to answer that question? That comes from Angela Carlisle. Hi, Angela.
Hey, Angela.
Yeah. Jennifer mentioned that Yoga with Adrienne. She's awesome. There are some. We have, if you get onto our Lakeshore site, we've got some links to some really, really nice short mindfulness and meditation videos or audios that are simple. If it's something that you haven't done before, it would be a great place to start, because a lot of people are afraid to get into mindfulness, not knowing exactly what they're getting into. So those are some wonderful resources. Start small and take that time to be with yourself and be in the moment.
Carol, if you don't mind, so you mentioned that your husband gets up, he makes the coffee, he's a teacher, and I can only imagine just how crazy the dynamic is and just navigating all of this together. Anything that you want to share about that? Has anything kind of emerged in how you all can work together? Like, what has that been like? Are there any tips from that experience that you could share as well?
Well, we're pretty lucky because he's got an office upstairs and my office has become the dining room. So we're not bumping into each other, but we're helping each other really to learn how to navigate all the technology. You know, my husband's been teaching for many, many, many years, and he's not a big fan of virtual teaching. You know, he's a history teacher, and he's a storyteller, and he loves to be in a room full of kids, and he thrives on that connection, and then so do his kids. So he's really having to rethink how to stay connected with his kids and learn all these Google classrooms and all of it. Same thing with me. You know, I'm having to. I don't at Lakeshore when I need technology help, I scream for Dustin, and he's not here. So you know, we're helping each other. He came down yesterday to help me figure out how to do something on the computer. So we're learning together and we're supporting each other and knowing that our worlds are different right now, but we're very fortunate to have each other to support.
Absolutely. Thank you.
There's one last question that I think is a very important one that I think we need to touch on. And this question is, for those of us who live alone or are in isolation without anyone else, how can we meet the need for human connection while respecting social distancing recommendations?
You know, I have found myself calling people more than, I have friends that I don't get to speak to very often, and I don't seem to make the time to call, and I have found even in this last week that I'm picking up the phone. So, you know, that I think would be a great opportunity to say, okay, I can't get out, but let me call somebody that I haven't talked to in a while.
And continuing, you know, if you have a happy hour with friends that you do, continue that. Get on a Zoom call together and turn on your videos and chat with each other. And so just trying to keep that, some of the things that we love doing, keep that going as much as possible. And I found the same thing, Carol, just calling my parents more, calling my brother more, and friends, and just remembering how much we need each other, and community is critical. These TechBirmingham panels and webinars have been huge for me during this time. I've loved attending these, and so I encourage anyone out there that maybe this is your first time to do this, join the breakfast chats and join the panels and meet people. I've been amazed at all the great recommendations coming through in the chat, and we are an incredible community here in Birmingham. We have so much to offer each other, and so using this time to connect more than ever, it's really important.
Absolutely. And I just want to echo quickly what you all shared. The Zoom or FaceTime happy hours, they have actually been a lot of fun. I've been doing them with a few folks. We're actually going to be doing something called Drinks with Deon. Hopefully it's more than you all just watching me consume whiskey. So yeah, we're going to do a version of that at Tech Birmingham. And again, shout out to Christina and Rebecca for just kind of really putting the scaffolding around what it is that we're trying to offer. But that has been incredibly fun. And I have the fortune of living downtown, so a lot of times people will be walking by and they'll yell, and I can have a conversation safely 6 feet away out the window. So just those kind of moments. I see a lot of the kids now who are having birthdays, and obviously you can't have birthday parties. And so people are just kind of doing drive-bys down their neighborhood street, honking the horn, just things like that. So I think it might be a little easier for me, given that I'm an introvert, as crazy as that may sound. So I do enjoy my quiet time, but still finding those ways to socially connect, whether virtually or just the casual passerby, has been very helpful during this time. So Christina, anything else that we need to pull out? Any questions? I defer to you if we need to wrap it up.
I think that's it. The last question that we've got has somewhat been addressed, just work-life balance, keeping, physical separation between working and just your personal life. I think.
Well, Patrick mentioned something in the chat that I want to echo, just that ritual of getting dressed in the morning and how important that is. Just do your normal routine so that it feels like you're transitioning from, home to work, and then transition back out again. Close down your laptop, change clothes, whatever you typically do when you get home. And keeping those things can help with that.
One of our members, Michael Panic, he gets dressed every morning, and then he drives around the block, and then comes back.
Love it. That's fantastic.
That helps him get into his mental space to work, and then when he's done, he gets back in the car, drives around the opposite way.
Shout out to Michael, by the way. He's a great guy if you haven't met him.
He's my best friend. Well, I've been trying to convince him to be my best friend. So
I love that. As my friend Dr. Anthony Hood says, it's only crazy if it doesn't work.
Yes.
I like that.
But Rebecca did post in the chat our next 2 events. So we have a virtual breakfast club coming up, Show Us Your Mug. So every week we have, all of us pull out our different mugs to show off to each other. And it's just a time for us to connect. There's no agenda. It's just a touch base, social, face-to-face thing virtually. And then, of course, we've got also in the link there the Drinks with Deon. And actually, quite a few people have signed up for that, Deon. You're a popular guy.
I think they just want to see what whiskey they should be getting. I think that has more to do with it. Japanese whiskey is always the answer to what you should get.
Oh, well, thank you all for participating. We really do appreciate all the tips and all of the suggestions, the wisdom and insight. Thank you for all of your help. I mean, I've been writing notes and trying to find ways to incorporate the, everything that you shared yesterday, and Jennifer, in other conversations that we've had. So thank you for all of your help. And I see you've got Chris has given you a little shout out, Jennifer, in the little chat area. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, everybody. And again, this will be recorded, or this has been recorded. We will post this onto our YouTube channel probably tomorrow afternoon. It takes a few hours for it to compress and whatnot and upload. So we'll get that all taken care of and loaded, and we'll send out a survey in our follow-up email. So any we are taking to heart all of the survey questions that have been answered and suggestions. We love hearing your ideas and input and what you need. We are actively looking for content to meet those needs. So please keep the feedback coming. And that's about it. That's enough for me.
That's perfect wrap up. There's nothing more for me to say. I'll just extend our appreciation to our guests spending an hour with us when you have so much going on. We really appreciate it. Definitely continue to lean in on us. Let us know what we can be doing even more of, what we can be doing better of. We want to make sure that we are meeting the needs of the entire community. So thank you all for that. To Carol, Jennifer, thank you so much for spending time with us, for opening up and sharing your insights and your ideas. We really appreciate it. And so as Christina mentioned, this will be on our YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/TechBirmingham. And of course, make sure you have signed up to the newsletter and that you or your organization is a member of Tech Birmingham as well. And with that said, we'll see you all on the next go round. Thanks again.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.